The conspiracy of mass voter fraud in the election of 2020 continues to be spread like a zombie virus, essentially. That it is the zombie, it will not die. The conspiracy that never ends. Or you could also say the grift that never ends, because Republicans continue to spread this lie about mass voter fraud. And now, while mass voter fraud does not actually exist, it's not a real thing, there is voter fraud, and it does happen. In fact, another story, and I've been covering this pretty extensively because we've been finding, isolated incidences of people who are, obviously doing fraudulent voting twice, registering the wrong address that they don't actually live at, things like that. In fact, an Indiana city council member, this is somebody in power this time, he has been arrested and charged with 2 counts of voting outside their precinct and 1 count each of theft, perjury, and official misconduct. Interesting. Very interesting. So now, again, this is according to Wish TV, which, by the way, awesome. Wish TV. Now, there are 2 lies, as I mentioned, that are told quite frequently in conservative circles. That mass voter fraud is rampant, again, because it's mass, and that it's exclusively perpetuated by Democrats. Well, once again, we see in this case, none of those things hold up. Shocker. In fact, you have Brian Young, a Republican on the Pulaski County Council, who listed his address back in 2004 for his voter registration. So now that address is in his district, in the district that he represents. So you would think, okay, there's no problem there, right? However, apparently they got tipped off, the police did, that Young didn't actually live there, didn't actually live in that district or in that address. In fact, they suspected that Young had actually lived at a different residence outside of his district with his girlfriend and their daughter, with the residence listed on his voter registration being where his parents live. Interesting. Now, Young claimed, when this was pointed out in court documents, no, I sometimes stay with my girlfriend and our daughter because she's got MS, multiple sclerosis, and, that's okay because I told people already about it, and they said it was fine. It was fine that I live with my parents because that's the address. So wait, he's living with his parents and not his girlfriend who has MS. Wouldn't you think that she would need him to stay all the time for care? Why would you stay somewhere else? Why would you be living somewhere else? Do you not want to spend time with your girlfriend and your child? Is it so difficult for you to be around your disabled girlfriend? That sounds very, very shady. What's going on here? So he said, and this is where the lying comes in, right? The perjury. He claimed that he told the Republican county chairman, the current Pulaski County clerk, and the previous county clerk about his living situation, and that they all agreed that he was clear to run for a seat represented District 3. So now he's running, again, he was running for office, and he was living in a different place and voting from a place that was not on his registration forms. Interesting. Now, it turns out that the president and most past Republican county chairman and the current county clerk denied telling Young that he was clear to run, court papers say, and of course the present county clerk's predecessor is dead. So you can't really go and ask him. Police ultimately determined that Young does not live at that address on his voter registration and instead lives outside of the district that he is supposed to represent. So he didn't even live there. And use that address to vote in multiple primary and general elections outside of the precinct where he resided. That, my friends, is a crime. Oops. Now, he was booked into the Pulaski County Jail on Tuesday and was released, unfortunately, after posting bond. But look, that's the situation. Okay. Oh, we have voter fraud. We have people lying on documents, lying to the court, saying, no, I have permission to live in this place and to lie about my voter registration. That's fine. To which they say, no, that's not fine. You're obviously lying. You're obviously making things up. And you're obviously doing voter fraud. Now, he's already been arrested. Is he going to get a lengthy jail time? Very unlikely, as we've seen with different voter fraud cases involving white Republicans. White Republicans, slap on the wrist. Oh, bad boy, you shouldn't have done that. Or, of course, if it happens to black people, and it does happen on occasion, well, and by the way, when it does happen to black people, oftentimes, it's usually people that are on supervised release, parole, and they're told that they're able to vote. So they go and they try to exercise their vote. And it turns out, oh, oops, you made a mistake. You're going to go to prison now. For sometimes up to years in prison, where, as I have mentioned, some of these white Republicans that are caught doing willful in-person voter fraud, sometimes impersonating other people, making up stories about their dead wife, and doing all these things, their dead parents, voting in their name, oftentimes for Republicans, for Donald Trump. What happens to them? Nothing. A little bit of probation. And that's about it. So, And yet, why is it that you keep finding white Republicans getting busted for doing this voter fraud? When they claim that it's the other side that's doing it, well, we know it's projection. It's always projection when it comes to the Republican Party. They bring up the specter of voter fraud because they themselves engage in it. And he's not the only one who has been alleged to have done so. I believe it was Mark Meadows who says, I registered at a trailer that I don't even live at and may have never even visited. Under investigation. And there are other investigations as well. And there are other people that have been arrested. Again, all white Republicans. And yet they never really get in trouble. Not that much anyway. And they're the ones that are systematically attempting to roll back voting rights for African Americans and for Democrats and for students. And it's because they know that if they do not roll back those rights, they will not win elections because there just aren't enough of them. So they do that. They gerrymander the districts. They ensure that black people have to wait in line to vote for very, very long periods of time. And so it's all an effort, a systematic effort to erase the vote by blaming the people, by projecting onto other people what they themselves have always been engaged in. Fraud. Because that's what they are.